Alright guys, so you thought that Jhin was already strong, and you were correct. It is S tier in most people's tier list right now for this patch. But I have discovered what I think is the most broken Jhin build, and nobody's building this, and it is so satisfying to play. I have actually won a lot of games in Master and Grandmaster MMR, including some Challenger games, and I have actually had Challenger players add me and ask me about the build already, and tell me that they're gonna trade with their teammate. It involves abusing two item mechanics that synergize really well with Jhin, mainly due to the fact that he's basically the highest AD champion in the game because of his passive. So what is this all about then? Well, let's get straight to it. As most of you might know, Jhin actually has the highest AD in the game due to the passive that converts his attack speed and crit to AD. You can see here some of it. So this means that anything that scales purely off of AD is really good on Jhin. So it is well known that he really likes crit and items like Infinity Edge. But what happened this season is that Riot introduced and changed several AD items to also scale off AD, whereas they didn't before. So what are we gonna do? Well, your first item is gonna be Infinity Edge as always, because it synergizes way too well with Jhin, gives him a lot of AD with the 80 AD plus crit, and your 4th shot is always a crit, which always applies Infinity Edge. So we are gonna start Infinity Edge as the first item, but what we're going to change is that we're gonna get Gathering Storm for the bonus AD, which a lot of people already do, and then we're gonna actually not buy Rapid Fire or Collector or Lord Dominic's like other people might do, and instead we're gonna buy Hurricane. So you might ask why? Well, first of all, if we buy Rapid Fire Cannon, our AD is gonna be 394, whereas if we buy Hurricane, our AD is gonna be a bit higher. Well, 3 is not that much, right? Keep in mind that we're also gonna get more movement speed when out-attacking crits. But that's not it. The reason we're buying Hurricane is this. As you can see now, Hurricane doesn't actually give you on-hit damage or magical damage like it did before, and instead what it gives you is 55% AD on the bolts. That means that Jhin, being the champion with the highest AD in the game, is gonna apply the bolts better than anybody else. But this is not the end of the story. The other thing that we're gonna do is buy this new item, Yuntel. So not only are these two items really nice build paths and you never have to buy BF swords, but look at Yuntel's passive, it scales 35% AD as well. So the other really nice thing is that Hurricane will apply the Yuntel passive fully 100% of its damage even on the tiny bolts. So then when you hit the bolts, you're gonna be doing a truckload of damage on each auto attack because you're the champion with the highest AD in the game. Riot didn't expect Jhin to buy this. Like, Riot didn't balance these items and think about these items for a champion with this much AD. When Riot made these items, they were thinking of 200 AD champions, 300 AD champions. But when you get it with Jhin, at 3 items, we're already at 500 AD. So what is this gonna look like, you might wonder? Well, let's try it out against really tanky targets. So for this test, we're gonna give 100 armor and 2000 HP to each of these dummies, where 3 items, 25 or so. So we're gonna actually give more HP and tankiness to one of them, but the rest we're gonna keep it at 2k HP and 100 armor and magic resist. And the one in the left, we're gonna give him 2.5k HP and 30 more armor. So now, let's see how much damage we're gonna do to these guys with our bolts and the Yuntel. As you can see, this is absolutely broken. You're doing almost the full damage that you're doing to the main guy, but to the others. Now let's do it on the squishy one. And as you can see, even the guy with... How much is this? The guy with 130 armor and 2k HP is getting 60% of his health bar just with the bolts, nothing else. What you're gonna do next is you're gonna buy LDR as 4th item to complete your 100% crit and to actually do damage to tanks later. So if these guys don't have armor, yet they're gonna get deleted with just one magazine, I guess. You can see. And you can see how much damage you're doing to them. And we already have 100 crit. So the beauty of this is that now we can buy an item that doesn't give crit. So can anyone guess what we're gonna buy? Well, that's right, we're gonna buy more AoE damage and an auto attack reset. So this is how it's gonna work. Let's give him even more armor. This guy will have 200 armor now and 3000 health. And we're gonna give 150 armor to these other two. So what's gonna happen with the Hydra is that it will actually give us more AD, which we always like. Some tankiness to get closer range to be able to apply these bolts. So we wanna be close range and apply these bolts. And then we're gonna also get an auto attack reset. So for those of you who don't know, Hydra actually gives you an auto attack reset on Jhin, so you can actually auto attack twice. So this is how it will look like. As you can see, that will do an insane amount of damage to all of the dummies. And let's trade on the tankiest dummy, this time with a 4 shot. So this is how it will look like. As you can see, like it's an AoE nuke, like super strong. And that's without even using Q, without anything else, right? What happens if we do a full rotation and we save the auto attack reset? So we're doing an insane amount of damage with just this. Even when you don't have the Hydra or the Lord Dominic's completed, you're still clearing camps and clearing waves super fast, which is like really nice in my opinion. It actually gives you a lot of wave clear as well, which Jhin is one of the, I guess, issues that it might have, is that it's kind of annoying to clear waves later. So I'm actually getting really nice CS even in chaotic games with this build. I like to call this a flamethrower Jhin because of how ridiculous it looks, and I would like you to try this in your games. So to summarize, the pros of this build are: number one, you get insane AoE synergy and wave clear that Jhin normally wouldn't have. Number two, you actually have a lot of early game power spike with the early Hurricane. It feels really good to finish it because you clear waves and get prio so fast. Number three, the damage AoE output and the team fighting is better than any other gym build. Number four, you can actually play into more melee and tanky champions better than otherwise because you are more tanky yourself and you're hitting them AoE. So if you have ever played Jhin, you come into moments in which maybe a melee comes into you and you gotta choose, like, you front to back and kite that guy, but then you don't do any damage to squishies. Like, what do you do? Like, with this, you don't run into that problem anymore, and you actually get like random quadra kills in fights when they jump into you, and you intentionally let people engage, and you do to your bonus HP anyway. Even in each step of the build feels really good. So number five is that the build path is so nice. You don't have to spend any gold on BF swords except for the Infinity Edge. So no spending BF sword on collector, things like that. And that means that the build path is always like every recall is like a power spike, right? You get a seal power spike, then you get the Hurricane power spike, then every time you can, you get a Noonquiver, which is a huge power spike. Noonquiver on Jhin gives 20 AD and crit, so it gives you a lot of damage. In solo queue, it just has felt amazing. It really satisfying in pretty much every situation, so I fully recommend that you go this build. The build path again is gonna be Infinity Edge first, then Hurricane, then Yuntal, then Lord Dominic's, and then Hydra. You can swap the order of Yuntal and Lord Dominic's if they have a lot of tanks. And I recommend muting your team because they're gonna ping you when you have the Hurricane until you prove them wrong. So I think this build is gonna be like really nice. So far in Master, Grandmaster, Challenger games, 7 wins and 1 defeat only with this build. This is absolutely broken in my opinion. It's the most meta way to play Jhin. I think you should play him like this. I fully expect either the Yuntal Hurricane interaction to get nerfed. So tell me what you guys think in the comments, and make sure to check my other videos of my coaching sessions. Or if you want to get one for yourself, also there's links in the description. So thank you, and I will see you the next time. Thanks for letting me cook on this one.